Well, I want to welcome everybody to this session. I'm Lisa Walker from Hyattsville Aging in Place, and we're really excited about this program. This program, which is Hyattsville Speaks, is a collaboration of Hyattsville Aging in Place and Jennifer Ridgway and Yard Dramas under a grant from the State Arts Council. Jennifer and the actors, who you can see here on screen, first got together in early 2023, and they've been working on their impressions and their stories since then. The program today also includes stories from about 20 people, including Ruth Ann, David, and Edna, but other people who have been part of the program since the beginning. Okay. So this program is one that Jennifer put together it's a creation of her Yard Dramas, which is a way of bringing people of all ages together from the community to tell their stories to their friends and families and other people in the community. These stories develop over time, just like an arena stage play or a Broadway play, with people beginning to reflect on their experiences and polishing their words as they go along. Like memoir writing or oral histories, Hyattsville Speaks in this case, is a way to bring the experience of Hyattsville's older residents to the attention of their neighbors. Jennifer and Ruth Ann, Edna and David will continue meeting and invite others who want to be involved in this ongoing program to join them. They usually meet on Mondays at 1 o'clock. That may change, but we'd be pleased to have other people join them. So Corridor Conversations began during COVID as a way to bring fun programs to the community. And it's a collaboration of all the villages along Route 1, including Hyattsville Aging in Place, Helping Hands University Park, Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park, and Explorations on Aging College Park. As we couldn't meet in person, we used Zoom, and we've continued using Zoom just because it makes it accessible for everybody, even without a computer, because you can phone in. I'm excited to go ahead. So I'm turning this over to Jennifer and want to hear about the program more and to introduce the speakers. Take it away. And break a leg, everybody.
Please, no.
Well, sit down and break a leg.
We're going to just go right into our production. And so,
Ready?
Hello
there.
I am Hyattsville, reminiscing and growing.
Hyattsville is
a bold and adventurous explorer, seeking new, never before seen sights to see.
An old-fashioned neighborhood,
Growing and imagining.
Growing and improving.
In Hyattsville, I am active and connected.
In Hyattsville,
I am refreshed and alive with eons of Anacostia tributaries throughout my being.
In Hyattsville, I am generous and giving.
Hyattsville wonders if longtime residents still love me.
about the untrodden pathways in Hyattsville and seeking new endeavors and sights yet unseen and waiting to be discovered.
When will a light pole be put between 4002 and 4004 Avenue?
How many helicopters does the city have?
On a warm, sunny day, I was sitting on my deck, and I heard the thrum, thrum, thrum sound of helicopters over the neighborhood. I was unable to get any information from the city about it. It turned out an armored truck was robbed at a local bank. Then I started paying attention to the sound over the next few months. The sound was on investigation, always related to an incidence of violence. I found this interesting, sad, threatening, and very telling. A week ago, I was awakened from a nap by the same sound. I thought it was just urban background noise. I dressed and went to the senior citizens writing group, where I was shocked and saddened to learn the helicopters were responding to an automobile accident at Riverdale Park Elementary School. 2 young children had been run over and killed. A parent was also injured in the crosswalk. I turned on the evening news and saw the little boy's parents being interviewed, the dad in Spanish on Telemundo and the mother in English on Channel 4. I was amazed by their composure and eloquence at such a traumatic time. This troubling event would not leave my brain. I felt compelled to write down as best I could, but I'm not a writer, so this is inadequate for expressing my feelings. All the while, the sound of the helicopters was in my head. Thrump, 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 over and over, like the bass line in a dirge. That sound will persist forever in my head.
Hyattsville sees beautiful historical houses along the tree-lined streets, planted gardens, and painted doorways, which remind me of the soft turquoise ocean colors. The steps and walkways remind me of the sand on the beaches.
I see an increase in residential building.
Inequality.
So many wonderful new families with many babies and children.
I moved to Hyattsville 20 years ago. In the second year, I adopted 2 beagles. I walked them through my neighborhood twice daily, meeting many neighbors and other dogs. Occasionally, some people pushed strollers, but that changed a few years later when I observed an increase in pregnant women, and then an increase in strollers. Not long after the first round of babies was born, there was a second round of pregnancies by the same women. I noticed that these moms were a group that supported each other during motherhood. They created play groups, babysitting groups, etc. I hope this supportive attitude continues with the new Hyattsville families.
When I reminisce, I cry thinking about my loved ones who have passed.
I cry about the loss of security of friends and close-knit community.
Lean on me when you're not strong,
And
I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Ronnie and I moved to our small brick bungalow in 1983. It was supposed to be our starter home. We never left. It didn't have many of the amenities I thought it should have, but it had the same glass doorknobs as my grandmother's Nebraska farmhouse. We were referred to as the nice young men who lived down the street. Our next door neighbors, Stella and Charles Rice, were the original owners of their house. Ronnie was with Stella when Charles died in their backyard. We helped care for Stella in her declining years, and I learned a great deal from her. I would go over for our Saturday visits. Only after she was in a nursing home did I realize that Stella wrote down a list of topics that we would discuss on those visits. I still miss them. Now I am the elderly man down the block. My neighbors are not intrusive, but they keep an eye on me. My neighbor across the street had a Day of the Dead party in her front yard last year. The table had colorful Mexican cloth and pictures of dead friends and relatives. My husband's picture was included. There were lots of people, food, and dogs. It was a friendly and festive Hyattsville event. Ronnie would have loved it. It meant a great deal to me.
lean on me when you're not strong.
I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. I am Hyattsville.
a bold and adventurous explorer seeking new, never before seen sights to see.
An old-fashioned neighborhood,
Growing and imagining.
growing and improving.
I feel excited about the future, seeing all these babies.
Old-fashioned,
There are too many buildings, and there are too many cars.
Wonderful and grateful to live in Hyattsville with all its uniqueness and special hometown traits.
At home, I pretend to be young again.
It was back in the early 40s that a happy family, the Lordiches, moved into a bungalow on 35th Avenue. The mother was a stay-at-home mom. The father was a jeweler who owned his own business, and they had 3 children, Nancy, Larry, and the middle child, me. I was chubby and always seemed to be bullied. As a result, my dad was very protective of me. We had a very special bond. In the early 50s, my dad was diagnosed with tuberculosis. He had to go to a hospital in Allentown, Pennsylvania, for almost a year, and having been told that he could not withstand the stress and pressures of his business, he had to sell it. Faced with tremendous medical bills, the fact that they had 3 children in Catholic schools, and everyday bills, my mom had to find a job. My mom had to go to work. So here we were, my dad hospitalized miles away, my mom the breadwinner. Much of the charge she had was helping her 3 children understand just why their lives had been changed so much in a short period of time. Larry in the 2nd grade became my responsibility as a 7th grader. We had no school buses, so it was up to me to see that we caught a bus to get to school. My sister was in high school. She had to catch a bus, taking her in another direction. When Dad came home, he adjusted to his new employment as an employee and not with the responsibilities of a manager supervisor. The money would never compare, but he had a job. After his illness, he never seemed to be a healthy man. In 1960, at the age of 52, my dad died. I'll admit none of us were ready for that loss. Life had its ups and downs, but I have to credit my mom with the way I handled many of the situations. At age 84, I know life goes on, and life is good. I have my next 4th generation to love, and although I can still cry at the thought of my losses and my joys, I have fantastic memories.
Memories all alone in the moonlight.
Hyattsville is home, where my feline pets greet me when I am in my driveway. They wait patiently at the car door for me to get out so they can follow my every step to the front door, knowing and anticipating the morsel treats waiting inside to be placed in their bowls. I am Hyattsville, round, robust, and jolly, tinkering in the yard, thinking, creating a more holistic environment in my mind. Feline friends greet my return, loving every step I take, purring all the while with every step I take to the front door, knowing a treat awaits them upon my return. They delight in me, and I delight in them. My environment is a delicious and harmonious stew of tantalizing gumbo, bold flavored with essence of spices and hotness from far and wide, seasoned with beautiful neighbors and residents from the world over. Folks are different, but are the same, seeking and wanting a better and successful life for family and friends, loving and living in this bewildering environment called home. I love the ebb and flow of the waterways. The trees and beautiful floral gardens of Hyattsville remind me of the spacious countryside of my beloved family farm in rural Virginia. The magnificent Blue Ridge Mountains, the fresh air, the southern hospitality. Unknown folks waving as they drive by, and we are waving back. It didn't matter who you were. It was just being neighborly. I am Hyattsville, round, robust, and jolly, tinkering in the yard, thinking, creating a more holistic environment in my mind. Feline friends greet my return, loving every step I take, purring all the while with every step I take to the front door, knowing a treat awaits them upon my return. They delight in me, and I delight in them.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got a friend. I worry about crime increasing.
About the old tradition and folklore disappearing like a vapor in the sky, the richness of it all disappear like the sands of time.
We are leaving our children a burden.
I remember wandering the creeks near my house where I could just roam by myself with friends without my parents. And I could get bloodsuckers on my feet or tar from the road when it was hot. A feeling of freedom and exploration, and that everything was possible. Jumping out of barn haylofts, sneaking out of the house at night with girlfriends, and swimming in green lakes. I could find other feelings that are less positive, but I don't want to. And I wonder when that sense of freedom ended. Middle school, high school, later. I can cry when I think of the conflicts of our past.
About the once family-oriented shopping mall, I feel like a stranger in a fast and changing environment that I am no longer part of.
When a citizen is killed or injured.
Murray Ann Crawford was a Hyattsville community hero who loved and served her community. In December 2019, Murray was recognized as Volunteer of the Year with over 500 hours of service to the city and Hyattsville community. As her friend, you became a part of Murray's world, a world of never-ending civil pride and responsibility of being a Hyattsville resident. Serving on church organizations, U.S. Postal Service, union activism, volunteering, seniors on the go, traveling and sharing for others, and more importantly, a strong bond of love for family and friends. On a local level, we met in the Ageless Grace exercise class at the Hyattsville Municipal Center after her retirement from the United States Postal Service in 2017. Prior to her retirement and an hour before she was due at work, Murray would often volunteer at First United Methodist Church and Meals on Wheels, preparing meals to be served and delivered that day. When Hyattsville seniors went on a bus trip, it was Murray who became the self-appointed caretaker of seniors in wheelchairs, helping them in their seat. Murray was by their side throughout the entire trip, carrying their belongings if needed and making sure they were comfortable. At the end of each trip, she waited with them until their ride home came. On Sunday, October 30th, 2020, Murray accompanied me to my church homecoming service. After church, we visited another church to enjoy the festivities called Trunk or Treats. After that, we went shopping. Murray would say to anyone traveling with us, you can hang with us if you like, but we have no set time to go home. After that day, we talked on the phone every day up until Tuesday, November 1st. That Wednesday, I took it for granted that we would talk later on. Unfortunately for me and for many others, that day would never come again. On that day, Murray was at a place she loved, Hyattsville Municipal Ageless Grace class, surrounded by those who knew and loved her. My friend received her heavenly wings on that day. She was a bright, shiny star and a joy to her community, family, and friends. I am Hyattsville,
a bold and adventurous explorer seeking new, never before seen sights to see.
growing and imagining.
growing and improving.
I understand my history is not perfect.
Old tradition fades away, replaced with fast-paced, more technological way of life, less communication and connection with others.
There's a need for better responses from staff help.
Another election was held on May 9th. I think that my city is really not in a good condition. 6 seats could have been challenged, but most offices were not even considered. Only where a member was leaving was there any competition. Am I the only resident dissatisfied with our government? Well, let's think about this. There are at least 18,000 residents in the city. Say only 1/4 are registered to vote. That brings us to 4,500. For the mayor, there were 1,341 votes cast. Then we added up the votes received throughout the city for council members, and that was a total of 1,297. We did not even have 1/4 of the residents bother to vote. They did not have to leave their homes or work to vote because each registered voter received a mail-in post-paid ballot. Oh, let's say why I feel so dissatisfied with the residents. I am just judging my feelings on an actual experience. When I ran for office, I had no experience in politics. I had a full-time job, a family, and a home. But I wanted to give back to my city. What I am getting at is I do not want to hear excuses for residents being dissatisfied, which, by the way, I hear daily. I guess this is just one reason I am so angry, because I have been there and I have done that.
I
I
can
can't
get
get no
satisfaction.
satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. 'Cause I try and I try and I try and I try. I can't get no. I can't get no. When I'm driving in my car, when a man comes on the radio and he's telling me more and more about some useless information supposed to fire my imagination, I can't get no. Oh, no. Hey, that's what I say.
I try to participate in community activities that bring me joy and contribute to the betterment of Hyattsville. I
I dream of a world without hate.
beautiful skies and the rambling water of the Anacostia River flowing gently over the rocks in the various parks surrounding Hyattsville City.
a city in Italy.
I dream of walking through the parks and shopping malls secure from hurt, harm, and danger. I'm just a Broadway baby, walking off my tired feet, pounding 42nd Street to be in a show. Oh, Broadway baby, learning how to sing and dance, waiting for my one big chance to be in a show.
I try to accommodate all citizens.
Find a combination of tasks that will center me, or has old age rendered me out of date? And am I sliding down a path to no recovery?
To envision the future.
I hope I stay a welcoming place for everyone, no matter race, culture, or religion.
To finding my footing, recovering stronger than before.
Maya Angelou's On Aging.
When you see me sitting quietly, like a sack left on the shelf, don't think I need your chattering. I'm listening to myself.
Stop. Hold. Don't pity me.
Hold, stop your sympathy.
Understanding if you got it. Otherwise, I do without it. When my bones are stiff and aching and my feet won't climb the stair, I will only ask one favor.
Just don't bring me no rocking chair. When you see me walking, stumbling,
Don't study and get it wrong, 'cause tired won't mean lazy, and every goodbye ain't gone.
I'm the same person I was back then.
a little less hair, a little less chin.
A lot less lungs and much less wind.
But ain't I lucky I can still breathe in.
In this place, I feel excited to be alive.
I am Hyattsville, a bold and adventurous explorer seeking new, never before seen sights to see.
An old-fashioned neighborhood.
Growing and imagining.
Growing and improving. There we go.
Wonderful! Yay! Oh,
I am unmuting. Okay, I think I'm okay. So I'm going to invite people to submit any questions they've got in the chat. Or there are a few of us, you could also raise your hand by, going to the raise hand mode. But I've got a few questions first, so I want to ask them of the group of our artists here. Of course, my phone just decided to close. How do you feel about your work and the performance? How are you feeling of having completed this? You feel good? You feel bad? What do you think?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think we all learned a lot about ourselves.
Oh, yes.
And each other.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
I really,
great.
I really like the part about talking about our departed friend Mary Ann. It just makes me feel like she's still here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. How'd you get involved in the project? Why did you keep coming back?
Well,
Um,
you know what? Because we laugh a lot. Coming back.
We have a lot of fun.
we do. You make your own good time,
Yes.
and that's exactly what we've done. And because of that, we were a success.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I found it very relaxing for me. It was a time of respite, really. I'm involved in caregiving and running here and there, and always doing for others. But when I came to the yard drama, this was something I was doing for myself,
Mm.
So I felt very relaxed, and I felt this was a time for me.
And there was no stress to it at all.
No,
No, it was just fun.
yeah.
What have you learned? You said a little bit about this, but what have you learned about each other and about yourself?
Well, Ruth's a real tramp. That's
I was just gonna say, I could see myself getting along with everybody.
You see why we laughing all the time?
Well, David and I I was involved.
Mhm.
David got involved because he and I were at a computer class.
way over our heads.
Right, and which neither of us were getting anything out of, other than we could sit there and
And
laugh
laugh.
about it.
We did it for 3 hours. The poor instructor.
I'm sure he'll never ask us back. But that was just, so then I said, hey, David, you want to get involved in something like this? And he said, okay. And here he is. Here he is. Yep.
I got involved because Jennifer asked, well, we were at a luncheon, a Hyattsville Aging in Place luncheon, and Jennifer presented the idea, and I kind of got excited because I like some kind of drama. So I said, of course, yeah, fine. And it's good to be reunited with David again because we were in Ageless Grace together, him and his husband. So we were regulars there. But it's good, connected. We all, had something to share, our family, loved ones, things of that nature. It was just wonderful. I think it was something refreshing. It helped us to dig deep and to bring out things that maybe we hadn't really thought about or we never expressed. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience.
And the timing was good for me because my husband had died 2 years ago and I kind of had to reinvent my life. We'd been together for 48 years. So it was like having the rug pulled out from under me. And it was really nice to have people who, well, they understood where I was because of the age and we knew each other a little bit, but it was just nice to have that support,
Yes.
I just want to tell you that you've got a lot of really positive comments in the chat. One says, Michelle Smith says, you all rock. That was awesome. And Cheryl Mawo says, very impressive and inspiring. And also Michelle asked, how did David, you just said a little bit about this, but how did each of your stories evolve? How long did it take this story to flesh out? And from all of you, because I know you've all been adding to your stories.
Yeah, we just told our own stories, and then Jennifer deserves a lot of credit for weaving it into something that made a little bit of sense. Yeah. Not much, but a little bit.
Yes, tremendous.
Yeah.
Along with the music, the singing and everything.
Yeah. We discovered that we had vocal abilities. Yes. And I thought that was very interesting.
Yes.
And the whole experience taught me that you can do something positive and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
Yes. How true.
Carter asked, go ahead, somebody.
It was me, Lisa. I was just gonna pop on over here because I don't have camera on me. So I was just gonna kind of lean in here a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about the process that we started. I know mentioned that luncheon, and from there, after we got the grant approved, we started with these pop-up events throughout Hyattsville that kind of just inspired people to tell stories. One actually was here at Ruth Ann's house on her back porch, where we sang songs that were like theme songs for our life. And so all the music that you hear that they sang were songs that came up that day. There were about 6 people, many of who you don't see here, but that were there that day. And then there was another pop-up too that was like a intergenerational. It was a early child care center that's based here in Hyattsville in Ward 3. We met at University Hills Duck Pond Park. And we did a storytelling session with these 2 and 3-year-olds, sort of really understanding what a story is really. And just understanding that stories begin at the beginning of our lives, in the past of our life, in the current moment of our life, and in the future imagining of our worlds together. And so, so when the stories kind of came, I just had this is what happens in a real playwriting session. Like you have like piles of papers of scenes and monologues, and you just start to weave them together. And so that's how we're working. And one day we will be on Broadway. Just
Okay.
Yeah.
Carter raised a question here. It's in the chat. In a few cases, you expressed both dismay and hope about Hyattsville. In developing the work, did you find your feelings changing?
Well, I don't know about changing, but things were brought to at least my attention that weren't really on my radar when I started. Yeah, and so it's made my life broader, not dramatically, but yeah.
I personally would hope that what I had to say about the residents and complaining or voting or whatever, I would hope that that lit a spark under people, a lot of people, because it was the truth. And, the city has a tremendous amount to offer, but I don't want to say we're not taking advantage of it, but maybe not realizing it because you're not involved. We get, I don't know, it's exasperating to me at times. It really is, like for instance, the aging in place. Every month we get a calendar and it lists all the activities that they're going to have for the elderly. And it's really interesting and important and whatever, the city has a lot to offer, but in order to take advantage of that, we need to make ourselves available. And here are 3 of us who have made ourselves available to Jennifer to help us with this event that we put on today. And it wasn't easy. It really not for
But
her.
it was fun. It was fun.
It was fun and it was enjoyable. And when we hear somebody say, "Hey, you rocked," that makes me personally feel good. Yeah. Because some days I'm old and I can't hardly get out of bed. But when you rock, that's a feather in my cap.
Yes.
I also just wanted to raise up Betty Dickerson says, this was awesome and brought me to tears. Sometimes with the humor and sometimes with the sadness. We need to take you all on the road.
Yes.
And they,
You know, we got an election coming up
yeah.
pretty soon. And I'm going to be voting not because I feel so obligated, but if I don't, Ruth is going to come and hit me with a stick.
Yes.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm gonna be on the lookout.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if Betty is still here and whether she wants to say anything else, but you know, this notion of taking it all on the road is something that we hope will happen, in the sense that we hope that other people will join. And so the stories can get more, it can be added to. And, you know, it could be it could be broader. And, you know, I think you would invite as many people. I have to say that I was waiting for costumes and the song and dance.
Yes.
Well,
I'm
The
still
costume-
here, and don't give me ideas. Costumes, yeah, we're gonna take them on the road. This was out of sight, y'all three. I mean, I'm teary-eyed. That's why I won't let y'all see me. I am with you. I am all in for whatever you want to do next. Sign me up.
oh, fantastic. We will definitely reach out. And one thing that David definitely wants costumes. He's well ahead. And this was just a staged reading. That's the stage of the creative process that we're in. And so, but we will be adding costumes. And our next stage is to actually move from actually taking those monologues and developing them into scenes, dialogue. So that's something we'll be exploring as well.
So if any of the rest of the people that are here want to join, whether you're from Hyattsville or not, you're certainly welcome, as are your friends.
Yeah, we will adapt it and expand it to Prince George's County, or, you know, however we need to.
And we think it ought to go before the council, but we need to get an invitation.
Yes, by all means, we need to get an invitation, seriously. I mean, as a ex-council member, as you are, Lisa, yeah, I think the council should reach out to us.
Mhm.
I do. I do.
We'll see what we can do.
And in the meantime, we'll be practicing our dance routine.
Right.
Perform
I know.
more for them.
And practice costume wear.
Yeah.
We can do it with walkers like they did in the producers.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much we can do. We can do it. Yeah.
I don't know if there are any more comments or questions. If Michelle Smith wants to say anything, if she is still here.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And we'll invite her too. Yeah.
Sure.
I guess a question for Jennifer. Is this for your dramas and for you? Was this a different sort of project, or is this sort of the type that you normally work with?
Interesting. It's very similar. I mean, I work with babies I work with all ages, because every theater production has all ages in it. And we all tell stories, and stories are important in terms of bridging community and getting us to understand different perspectives. And so, you know, I've done similar programs to this with teens, writing their stories. I actually had in Greensboro, North Carolina, when I lived there, we had 6 different high schools, and each high school wrote a different play about their community and their culture at their high school. And then those 6 different stories came together, and we had an evening of each of their different stories. And so that was really just really changed my life and what I wanted to do, because what they ended up sharing with me was, it wasn't actually the stories, but it was the process of coming together and understanding who they were together and why they all belonged in that community, and then moving that towards the whole city and why they belong to the whole city together. And that the most moving moment was them standing in a huge circle pre-show, all of them, all 6 schools together in a huge circle. And then we had pizza right before, and that, just everybody was crossing what their normal interactions of community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I think, go ahead.
Kind of an understanding about theater is like you have playwrights, you have directors, you have dramaturgs, which are the researchers, you have designers, you have actors, and you have critics, who are the audience. And the audience plays a huge role in the production of the theater. And that production, every show, every night, is the one and only time that it exists. One time I was in a production, and there was kind of a stirring moment that happened, a profoundly traumatic event happened. And, an audience member went, "Oh no," right? And I was out in the audience when this happened. And so I could watch that everyone pulled away from this audience member who had this very deep guttural reaction to what was happening on stage. And what I really started to really understand about that is what that communal experience does is we know now in that community that this person has that understanding of that moment. What that is, we don't know, but we know it's, oh no, right? And so we understand that we are now all having to bring that voice in, negotiate with that voice, and empathize with that voice. And as actors, you have to respond to that voice on stage, and it changes the whole show. And it's just that communal experience within an audience, and the conversation between actor and actor, and audience and actor, and audience to script is really interesting. It was a lot of voices that we're all negotiating.
Right. I see that Bonnie McClellan has joined us, and I don't know, Bonnie, if you're there and if you wanted to comment. I don't think you saw the whole thing, or were you there with Bonnie's iPad?
No, a different Bonnie. Unfortunately, we were at a funeral, and I just got home, so I'm quickly joining in, hoping to catch a little bit of it, and then I'll catch the rest. But I'm glad to know you're still going. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie.
Here.
Yeah. I think I would say, just to comment on that, my daughter, when she was younger, was in many plays that were adult plays, and she was the kid that was in it. We used to go to all of the performances, and you could just watch the development over time of the performances, and how the actors would interact together, and how the play would really change, both based on the fact that the audience was responding, as you said, Jennifer, and that the actors were interacting with each other slightly different and taking on different attitudes as the play went on. And it was just really interesting to see that. Of course, most people that go to plays only see it one time, but if you're there, I guess, as a parent, or if you're there as the performers, you really see the development. And I certainly saw the development here with this group. I mean, this was really quite wonderful.
Yeah, Lisa, you joined me in so moving. You joined me in tears and smiles and so forth. And so that is saying, oh my goodness, we need an Oscar for everybody. It's just excellent for the emotions that it's got us moving in.
Yeah. I apologize for my tears. I am affected deeply but I don't apologize.
I was
You know,
gonna say, I don't
I do
apologize.
not apologize. No.
You know, when we first started this
No.
and we were writing it, I could not get through it without crying
Yeah.
at what I wrote about my husband, about my life,
Yes.
about my dead neighbors. It just brought me to tears every time, and now in my old age, I've gotten calloused and I don't cry.
Callous.
You're all
right.
performer.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I pulled that a couple times when I talked about my family.
Yes.
And then I thought, you're still a big crybaby.
Mhm.
So stop.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
no, I don't think my emotions changed. I think the fact that I had said it a bazillion times.
Yes, exactly.
It's- yeah, okay, here we go again. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And that's the negotiation that's happening, you know, like you're starting to understand, like a meta understanding of what this moment is, what that experience was for you,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what it was for other people. And, you know, even I can talk personally that my brother died at the top of this unexpectedly, of this process. And Ruth Ann's story really has like touched me, and because my brother had two kids who are in middle school who were about her age when her father passed. And so, her story has rocked me and brushed up against me and informed me and shaped me so that I can help shape my niece and nephew in their grief process. So, yeah.
Well, that's very interesting, Jennifer, because when David talks about his partner dying, I think about my husband dying.
Sure.
Really, it's amazing how
Yeah.
how we feed off of
Yes. That's
one
true.
another's stories and their emotions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah,
We
it's
can
been
all-
a wonderful experience.
Yes. It's true.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has.
Yes.
I was
And-
so glad to listen to Edna bringing in Mary Crawford. No better way to remember her and to treasure, and in that story will move forward as you all move forward. Everybody needs to know about Mary Crawford. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I personally didn't know about her until this.
Mhm.
Edna wrote the story and gave it. I had no idea
Yeah.
that there was somebody special like her in the city.
I wanted to share that, and part of the grant that I wrote for this next phase of this program, I have included a day where we're gonna work with a woman who does publishes work in newspapers, and so she's gonna come in and there's article like your story. There's every one of you have a story that should be as an op-ed or some kind of feature.
No,
Yeah.
I think that we deserve that.
Yeah.
We really do. Yeah, we do, Edna. People should see. You and Mary, David and Ronnie.
Ronnie knew Mary.
Yeah.
Yes.
And myself with my dad, and then like I said, my husband, getting that off Ronnie's story. It's amazing. It was an amazing experience. Yes, it was. Yeah, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to do it. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And thank you, Carter.
Well, Carter, yeah.
Yeah, we cannot forget Carter.
No.
And thank everybody that listened and wrote a comment and whatever. We
Thank you.
appreciate that. Yes, we do.
Well, we will hope that we carry this on to a couple of other stages. and get other people to both get involved and to hear the stories. I just want to say one more thing about the May 1st program, which we did put in the chat, which is the Elder Law Day at 11 o'clock. And we're going to send some information out to everybody that signed up for this in case you want to come right after this meeting. And if there are no, I mean, we're open to other comments there. Carter just put it in the chat again. If there are no other comments, I want to thank everybody for coming and thank David and Edna and Ruth Ann and Jennifer for your wonderful stories.
I dropped an email address if anybody would like to email, and I can.
Oh, good. Did you, your email, Jennifer@yarddramas.org. So if you want to get involved, just let Jennifer know.
Mhm.